It's time for Twig. This Week in Google. Gina and Jeff are here. We're going to talk about Eric Schmidt's interesting comments yesterday at the D conference. Some announcements from Twitter, Facebook, and more. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cachefly. Cachefly.com. This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 97, recorded June 1st, 2011. You'll find it in the men's section. This Week in Google is brought to you by Carbonite.com. Backing up the files on your PC or Mac is safe and easy with Carbonite. For a free trial plus 2 free months with purchase, go to Carbonite.com. Offer code TWIG. And by Netflix. Watch thousands of TV episodes and movies streamed to your PC, Mac, or TV instantly. Plus, get DVDs by mail in about 1 business day. For your free 30-day trial, go to netflix.com/twit. It's time for Twig, This Week in Google and the Cloud. Actually, we should call it This Week in the 4 Horsemen of the Internet. I'm horseman number 1. Here's horsewoman number 2, Gina Trapani.
Horsewoman number 2.
Horsewoman number 2. That's your new title.
Greetings, fellow horse people.
That's just straight out of the Game of Thrones or something. The Khaleesi is here from smarterware.org at Gina Trapani. Also here. Ooh.
A cheesy transition.
Fancy
Transition guy is in the house.
It's
Mr.
Flash
Jeff,
Gordon.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I could do. You want cheesy transitions? I can do cheesy transitions. Jeff Jarvis is at buzzmachine.com. Whoa!
Oh.
For those of you listening at home, you're not missing a thing. No. And we are about to talk about the Googleverse. So that was what Eric Schmidt called Facebook, Google, Apple,
And Amazon.
The 4 horsemen. I think that's accurate.
I think so. He left out Microsoft. I think that's right.
No Microsoft. And he left out Twitter. Twitter's too small a service to be worth.
But it was companies creating a platform, right? Companies who are doing a really good job exploiting like the web as a platform. So I think that's Twitter isn't necessarily that yet, but Amazon certainly is, right?
Oh yeah, Facebook,
Apple, and Google. So I think that was a pretty.
Does Apple belong in there? They're a great hardware manufacturer, but are they? I guess with iCloud is
iOS is the platform, right?
Yeah, iOS. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we're going to spend like 3/4 of the show dissecting what Eric Schmidt said yesterday at the D9 conference. The top 10 things, according to Danny Sullivan, that Eric Schmidt revealed at D9. You know what? Just before we go into these, Jeff, Gina, you think Eric did himself a solid on the stage at G9, at D9? I think so.
I watched the video that they put up, which was edited, and I thought it was a really good interview. I thought that he was good. He was frank. I thought that his observations were astute. But it was interesting. TechCrunch. I guess Sarah Lacey at TechCrunch said that he came off. He put himself down, and he's got filled with regret for his time at Google. I didn't get that at all. I don't know.
It's called honesty.
It's honesty and humility, both of which I think more CEOs should show. Yes,
absolutely.
As we talk this through, he didn't get the commerce job that supposedly he was up for in the White House. But the discussion after Paris was that this is the political Eric, and Eric has a political ambition, and people are starting to say, is he the first geek president? You put this kind of honesty you hear from him now against a politician's voice, and I'd welcome that. I mean, he puts his foot in his mouth, but he's being direct and he's being smart.
I did notice a number of people on Twitter. I was watching the live Twitter feed as he's speaking, which is always interesting. And a number of people on Twitter said how political, how smooth and savvy he was appearing.
Which is not what he's usually accused of.
No.
Right.
Creepy, foot in mouth.
Right.
Okay, so Gang of 4 and platforms. He says they have huge platforms, dominance in their spaces, difficult for others to challenge. Amazon rules in shopping, Apple for beautiful, quote, beautiful products, Google for information, Facebook in friends and identity. Microsoft not on the list. He says he didn't see them driving the evolution of consumer products and services. He said big in the enterprise space, that's for sure. And they have products that I thought this was actually a pretty astute analysis, are a, quote, flywheel that would power Microsoft for decades, much like IBM went on and on after it lost dominance in the 50s. It went on and on and on and still goes on.
Yeah.
Number two, Google did a deal with Apple to stay on the iOS platform with Google Maps and Google Search. He says, we have a very, very good search partnership and map relationship with Apple. Deals have been renewed. No other details. I really thought Apple was one of the reasons this whole Apple privacy kerfuffle happened is that Apple was gathering data to supplant Google. And in fact, I think Apple even said that they were going to do a traffic application, which implied a map application to me. Number three, these are Danny's top 10. Google will get social data in alternative ways. They tried to do a deal with Facebook, the deal that Bing ended up doing, to include social search. I got the impression that they weren't able to make that deal. He says, from Google's perspective, it would be useful to have the information. It would make our products better. Yeah.
Yep.
Social search, the next big thing. Later, when asked,
you get Eli Perez are going after him, don't personalize. I still think it's wrong, but that's the new meme
that filter bubble.
Yeah.
Thing, which we've talked about. We talked
about last week, yeah.
And I think threw it out of hand, right? We dismissed it.
Yeah.
When asked if Google might need to buy something like Twitter, he said, our social strategy does not acquire the acquisition. I think he means require the acquisition of any company because we can't get people to give us that information.
He's talking
because
about
we can
one.
get. So he says we can license it. I see. Yeah.
Well, right. He's saying he can license it from other companies, but also Google can get people to give them give it personal information in other ways, through profiles, through +1, through likes. Right? I mean, I think this is him. This is how I interpreted it.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think you're right too.
I misinterpreted it. I was thinking we could license that data like we tried to do with Facebook. No, you're right. In other words, we don't need Facebook because we have means. They know everything about us. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I mean, and Gmail really is the crux of that. I mean, Google does know a lot about you. He knows your contacts. I mean, your email is a pretty personal thing. And
they have to be careful, though. That's right. You hit the nail on the head. That's a personal thing. Facebook, I'm willingly giving them information. Yes. I don't want Google mining my Gmail.
Agreed. I mean, most people don't. That's definitely true. But, your contacts is very, that's a social graph that Google has that they take advantage of. And that they misuse with Buzz, as we know.
Oh, yeah.
But, +1 is another, which we'll talk about later on in the show. But that's another way that's their like button.
But both are so limited. I mean, part of what Zuckerberg said to me when I interviewed him for the book was that the difference is that Google and companies like that scrape what goes on. On Facebook, you choose to say it. The example he always gives is that you choose to say that you're a Green Day fan, and there comes the ad for Green Day, versus saying in your email, Green Day, Green Day, Green Day, and suddenly the ad's there, and that people find creepy, right? That there's an explicit choice that's truer about Facebook than Google.
Definitely, but the Green Day ads, we're seeing those already inside Gmail, and that's private. I mean, what Google has to do is distinguish very strictly between what's private, which is Gmail, email, and what you explicitly publish. But Google's got plenty of publishing tools, right? I mean, Blogger, Buzz was a try, Profiles. I mean, there's a lot of little places where you can enter information about yourself. Google Reader subscriptions and your likes and your comments on those. I mean, it's not Facebook, but it seems like Schmidt was referring to all these little ways here and there that you can add signals and publish and share through Google products.
I think, Gina, the best signal generator is the phone.
Yes.
Where you are, what you're looking for, what you're doing. Who you're calling? No.
But that is the issue. Is how do we use this data without creeping people out?
Right, you respect the stuff that's private. That's meant to be private.
Didn't he take some blame for the Buzz fiasco yesterday? Didn't he mention that? I can't remember. He took blame for a lot of things.
I watched the edited version, so I didn't see the entire interview. I don't think he mentioned Buzz specifically, but apparently he did say that.
He says, we're not good at social. We screwed up social.
Right, and saying that's his big regret, right? Is that he didn't do something.
And add that into this. So they're saying they screwed up social. Now they're saying that they're going to get, we have our ways to get social data. Isn't quite convincing to me.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I mean, A, there's the issue of how they don't know how to do it, but B, there's the creepy issue we were talking about too.
I think they lack a strategy still.
Yeah.
There's no apparent strategy. We keep on, because they're Google and they're brilliant and they're amazing. We keep on giving them credit. And
right.
saying,
we give them a lot of credit.
Something in the lab, and it's coming out soon.
Right.
We keep on guessing what it is. I think it's quite possible that they don't have any freaking strategy for something.
Aren't we close to the 1 year mark of the Google Me rumor?
Yeah.
And still nothing.
Yeah, that's correct.
There is no me there. He says it was his fault that Google's social networking problem. So does that imply that Larry Page might do a better job? Is he maybe saying Larry's going to fix this?
No, I think he's doing the opposite. I think it's more of a fault by omission, a sin of omission. That he wrote the memos, but he didn't follow through. He didn't execute. He didn't make it happen. And so he's saying, buck stops here. I screwed up.
Yeah, well, good. That's very presidential. Keep up the good work, Eric. Yeah.
Yeah.
Schmidt says he's dealing with external issues almost exclusively now since Larry took over as CEO in April. I think, but by that he means Washington, right?
Yeah, I think it's mainly that.
Yeah.
Not just Washington, but London, Paris, Bonn.
Right.
Pick your capital.
He was at EG8.
Mm-hmm.
Did he have a high profile there?
Yeah. He was on an early panel. He listened to Sarkozy. He went with Sarkozy to Deauville and the G8, along with Mark.
He is very much getting into government, isn't he?
Oh, he really is. Yeah, and I think that it's necessary for Google. It's hurt Google, especially in Europe and the EU, and so they need the highest powered spokesman they can have in those circles, and that's him. And I think personally, he's into this now.
He kind of implied, though, that he would stay at Google till death did them part.
Yeah, he did. That was interesting. He said that his biggest worry about the web is a balkanization of the web, that every country will have its own internet. I mean,
I thought was good. I liked that.
Yes. I thought Jeff head is exploding right now.
Yeah.
That's been yours. That's been your
it's so
drumbeat.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm writing a post I haven't finished yet, but thinking about last week in Paris. The fight now is over the sovereignty of both the net and governments, right? We say that government has no sovereignty, says, quote, John Perry Barlow, on the net. And the government's kind of claiming that they should. But what makes the net is that no one can have sovereignty over it.
Right. So that's what scares governments, too. Things like WikiLeaks.
Exactly what scares government is it can, and so that's what it is. And so what you really see, I think, is government trying to reserve a place at the table of the future. And there may not be a place for them in quite the way that it was, and that's profoundly frightening. And it leaves a vacuum, as Clay Shirky would say. We don't know what's going to fill the vacuum, but I think that's what's going on here. And so Eric last week, said to them pretty clearly. He says this in various contexts around that government is slow, technology is a lot faster. Government shouldn't be holding things back.
By the way, that's why I think that the government is slow on purpose. I think the founders wanted a government, were afraid of a government that was too efficient and effective. I know I am.
Yeah. But the problem is when they do use their power to regulate, when they do define what the internet is before it's even done yet, that's a danger. And then, when I asked him this question at Aspen 2 years ago almost, he did a little soliloquy about how, I wish the change happened faster, like you say, Jarvis, but it's not. And the reason it's not is because all the resources go to the incumbents. The big old companies, and government are in a cabal together to prevent the change. And so that's really kind of his view, is that it's change agents against change resistors, I think. Now, the next, immediately you start going on Google with its devil's deal with Verizon, and is it jumping the shark in terms of being a big company? That's a different discussion. But Eric's take has been that government is slow and it's a problem.
Yeah. Well, now I'm scared about Eric getting to be president. I will speed things up. The trains will run on time.
Well, or he would do the opposite, or he would, eliminate his own job. Not quite, but.
When you see things like Bitcoin, which is an extra governmental currency fueled by the internet, WikiLeaks, which is an extra national, in Jay Rosen's terms, journal, news entity, and I expect we'll see more and more of this. It feels very futuristic.
It does.
It's very cyber.
Go
ahead, Gina.
Neuromancer. Go ahead, Gina.
No, I was going to say, it feels like the future. It feels like, oh, right, this is what it was meant to be, for the people to organize on a level that goes beyond local government. I mean, it has a lot of big, scary implications, which Schmidt is probably more qualified to deal with than I am.
Well, one of the things, science fiction talks a lot about is extra governmental corporations, multinationals.
Right.
And that's a little scary. And most science fiction says, well, it's these multinationals that will end up, the world government by de facto. But interesting, maybe the internet will be a peer.
Right. Well, if the internet stays architected the way it is, then there is an entry point for anyone.
We've got to get Timothy Wu on.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Because his book, The Master Switch, that's what he talks about. He says, in the past what's happened, and he uses the long-distance system as an example, is these systems were created, they were open, they thrived, they innovated, as all open systems do, but it was only for a while, and then corporations came along and said, okay, thanks, kids, we'll take it from here. And he fears...
That's what we have to protect.
Yeah, and he fears that's... Well, he doesn't fear. He says it's going to happen on the internet.
And it's going to be taken over by internet companies. So Facebook and Google and Amazon are going to...
The four horsemen, baby.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's hard to feel like Apple is going to be...
I don't think Apple's one of the four horsemen.
Yeah,
but here's the thing. If I'll go this far. If Sarkozy has a dream of how the internet should operate, it would be Steve Jobs' dream.
Yes.
It'd be controlled,
bet.
Cleaned up, and gate kept.
Steve says there's no porn on iOS.
Right. We protect you.
Good point.
That's our job.
So I'm not sure I want Facebook to be in charge either. But let's promote a healthy competition between Amazon, Google, and Facebook. You don't want anybody to become
part of Schmidt's argument, too, and every time Schmidt has argued, is Google too big? And, of course, the response is, show me too big, and shouldn't it be regulated more? And so Schmidt says, well, who would you prefer to run this? Google or the government?
Right. Well, Google.
We're here to help, yeah.
Although, I think people who believe in government as a reflection of the social contract would say government. That government reflects us and our desires. It's just such an imperfect.
Right, but the problem becomes when you have
it's slow and
slow.
And it doesn't really reflect us and our desires. It just
Sarkozy said that only governments are the legitimate representatives of the people, and response to that is Tahrir Square in Egypt. The issue now is that there's so much of what we do is not tied down to a nation.
But isn't really, that is what a government is supposed to be anyway. The ideal government is a reflection of the will of the people. It's us self-governing. Now, obviously, Egypt is not self-governance, but let's use the United States, a republic. Isn't that the principle behind it, is self-governance? We elect representatives, but the idea is we're self-governing.
Right, but Leo, what do you do about the financial structure that cuts across? Even America can't do it all. What do you do about ecological issues and pollution and radioactivity?
So I would say this is what Tim O'Reilly kind of dreams of when he talks about government 2.0, is the notion of a, maybe not extra-national, although maybe it should be transnational, but open, transparent government that does reflect the will of people. Maybe the internet will become or somehow foster Is this what you think?
the
Foster a transnational government that reflects the will of its people?
Well, government as a platform versus as a tool, right?
And that's what you're doing. That's what Think Up is all about.
That's what
Expert Labs is all about.
So that's the one side of it. That's good government. But on the other side of that, watch out. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm going to quote Habermas. Is that what I think?
We have a new Godwin's Law.
Every conversation. It's no longer that we Google ourselves.
It's Habermas. I got to have to read this cat.
All conversation. No, you don't. Oh, God, no, you don't. It's like eat raw sausage, man. It's not digestible. It was torture. But
we have a Habermas drinking game, however, I'm glad to say. And the chat room is already sloshed.
There we go.
Yeah. Woo.
So he argued that the public sphere emerged in the 18th century when in salons and coffee houses, the discussion, the rational critical debate of the people became for the first time a counterweight to the power of government. And then he argues that it got corrupted by mass media, where we just got talked to again. Well, I think what I argue in a certain book to come out in September is that what the internet is, Habermas was wrong because the coffee houses only had the twee rich people and only men and only landed people, and it was not the people. But the internet does have the power to be the people, and so the internet is a constant counterweight to government. And so when government tries to regulate its disruptor, that's a conflict necessarily. The internet is our public sphere. Oh, damn, I should say that in the book. That's good.
Revisions.
Oh, it is. I got one chance left. Write the paragraph now. But the internet is the public sphere. The internet is that
It is.
tool.
It's the embodiment of the public sphere.
Right.
With all its unruliness and its, heterogeneity.
That was good.
It's all mixed up. It's a bunch of mixed up stuff. Write that down. Are you writing it down, Jeff?
Write it down.
Write it down. The internet is the public.
It's called a pen. I still use it. And a little
It's a lot faster than a tablet, I could tell you that.
Oh, I put my Post-it notes onto the pads here for the laptop, you see here.
Oh, so there you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And
that's why they have such a big wrist rest.
Exactly.
It's the Post-it note holder.
So I put notes there to remind myself, and they stay there for 6 months, and I never read them, but that doesn't matter.
So we got to fight to keep the internet to be a true public sphere, a true, speaker's corner, a true Hyde Park, open, free, and I think internet as a platform, or a government as a platform, is a great way to think of it as well.
Right. That's the way. That's what the people have to do is to demand that the government is a platform for listening to what they have to say and for implementing the things to represent, like representation via the internet, just not just through voting, but a constant kind of interchange and people participating all the time and using the internet very much. But yeah, the government as a platform, that's the whole Gov 2.0 kind of vision. And we just have to make it happen.
Tweet from Todolio. Habermas at a Chipotle watching Glee.
Forget Twig, we're going to have to get a new acronym. It's the Glee Chipotle Habermas show.
Well, look, carry that further. Carry your idea further. I think you're right. But in this future, then a quality company is also a platform. Right? When Google is at its best, when Facebook is at its best,
Zappos.
It is a platform for what we want to get done. And that's when we have the best relationship with it. That's when they can succeed. When they fail is when they try not to be that. Verizon. Right? Verizon, Google. And, this is the argument that Siva Vagnathan says that companies must be evil because they must, I'm simplifying, they must return money to their shareholders. And Umar Haque and I come back and argue, well, yes, but the cost of doing evil is higher now, and so you may succeed better by being a true platform.
Yes. And Google has mostly done that.
Mostly. Exactly. Yes. And so you take Schmidt's attitude about that, right? Could Schmidt be the person? Schmidt for president! Schmidt for president! We'll hear all kinds of dumb quotes all the time. It'll be so much fun to cover them.
It would be fun, I have to say.
It would be so much fun. Oh, got to be so much fun.
How tall is he? Is he tall? Because you got to be tall.
Yeah, he's tall.
He's tall, okay.
I can't believe that we've gotten a Schmidt to president.
Schmidt for president. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, I think we need to sell bumper stickers.
Schmidt for president. So, but here's the question: is it really a public sphere when all of the conversation occurs within these private platforms like Facebook or Twitter or Google? Does that mean that it's no longer quite as free or public? I guess not. I mean, it has to be federated in the way that the web is. That's what we want. That's what we want.
And that's what APIs are kind of the beginning of providing. And the kind of data sharing, the partnerships that we see, that's a good thing. But yeah, we definitely, this is why I've been kind of obsessed with federated platforms and systems for so long. Is like, if we create platforms where people can set up a node and connect with the others and everyone, and the data ownership is distributed, those are the kind of platforms that I want to see.
100% agree. I mean, that's why I was always uncomfortable with Twitter.
Yep.
And preferred StatusNet. I was always uncomfortable with Facebook. Maybe Diaspora is a solution there.
I know. Ethical, treatment or having the solution is competition purely. I think the problem we have in access, the problem we have with net neutrality, is that we are imprisoned to duopolies at best around the country, right? And that allows them to do this to us,
right?
At some point, the fact that Google has 60-some% market share in the U.S., Bing is a healthy thing.
But there are a lot of stakeholders. So now you have the stakeholder, which is the carrier, the internet service provider. You have the platform, which is Facebook or Google. These all have commercial interests.
Yeah. But so does an economy. So does a society. That's not.
Yes, but does our society trump? I mean, this is what Tim Wu's talking about, is that ultimately these commercial interests win. And they trump our interest as a society. You see it, I mean, that's where we're sitting right now with the whole intellectual property debate, the whole debate over music and movies is, the needs of a society versus the interests of content creators. I think that's what Larry Lessig would say. This is a great conversation. I'm going to interrupt it briefly. And then I'm going to
for commercial purposes, for capitalism.
Yeah.
Making some money. And it's okay, Leo.
Yeah, because we have had a good conversation here.
Yes.
And I did not in any way let the fact that Carbonite.com is a sponsor impact this conversation. I am going to show the best damn ad.
Save the value of it. We're gonna. That's where our memories of it will be secure, right,
yes.
Leo?
Yes, precisely. I am going to show you the best damn ad I've ever seen in just a bit from Intel.
Yes.
Yes, and I think it's fascinating, and I think it reflects kind of a new way of advertising, because it's an ad, instead of an ad that's targeted at me, which is the newest thing that Google did, this is an ad that features me. Mm-hmm. It's the museum of me. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. There's lots more to talk about. We still haven't got through all 10 points. We got to talk about facial recognition.
Then we got to get to Twitter and its platform, speaking of which.
Speaking of Twitter, I got a lot to do. So let me quickly talk a little bit about Carbonite.com. You're right. This is where you save all your stuff. And very important that you do so. If you go to Carbonite.com right now and use the offer code TWIG, you could try it right now for 2 weeks free. You don't even need a credit card. Here's the Carbonite's backup, right? So it's cloud, but it's cloud-based. It's internet backup. And that's really the strength of Carbonite, is that even if the worst happens, your data is safe. Hard drives die, laptops get stolen, backups disappear. But when you have been backing up to Carbonite, you always have access to your data even before a disaster happens. You log into your Carbonite account on a Mac or a PC or on an Android phone, an iPhone, on a BlackBerry, and there's your stuff. So it's cloud storage. Restoring is as easy as clicking a button. I'm just a huge fan, and I encourage you to give it a try. Free for 2 weeks. Carbonite.com. Offer code TWIG. If you decide to buy, now, by the way, this is very affordable. It's $59 a year, and that isn't for like a gig or 2 gigs or 100 gigs or whatever. It is for whatever amount of data you have on your internal drive. You can't just start plugging in a bunch of drives, but whatever's on your internal drive, the contents of your laptop, for instance, that's less than $5 a month. That's a good deal. Carbonite.com, 16 cents a day. Try it free right now. Carbonite.com. If you use the offer code TWIG when you buy, you'll get 2 free months. So it's 14 months for the price of 12. You got to back it up to get it back, so do it right with Carbonite. So real quickly, Eric Schmidt said, we knew this, that things like Google Goggles had face recognition capabilities. He said face recognition is the only product Google has withheld. And I think they probably did the right thing.
But can you hold the genie in the bottle?
I wish they. I want it because I have a terrible memory.
I mean, the larger comment that he said is that he realized that the same platform for doing good is the one that you'd use to do evil, right? So the terrorists use the same tools that the people do, and the facial recognition thing was one of the only things that they held back because they felt like people could use this to create a biometric database and watch people. I mean, no, I don't think you can keep that genie in the bottle. Someone else is going to do it then. I mean. This is right. Interesting that Google decided to hold that one back. But I think that was really good insight and something that made me feel good about Schmidt. Really, this interview kind of turned.
I agree, but I'll do the devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Which is that it's a cynical PR move. That they'll let somebody else do it first because they don't want to be the ones who always kill privacy. They'll let Microsoft do it, or they'll let a government do it, and then what the heck, it's already out, will come along.
Yeah, I mean, this very well may be Google trying to say, hey, look, we're really not as creepy as you thought. We could do this thing, but we don't because we're taking care of you. You know, maybe this is a PR move. Right. And letting someone else take it over. Sure. I'll accept that.
Okay. It's all PR.
I don't mean it, but I think, the question is, as I read that, I was thinking about how could you at least start using it for good? Right? Every day on our local news, I suspect you have the same thing. We have the missing child, which, by the way, I've never fully understood because if we really, truly had kidnapped children, it's obviously domestic disputes that accounts for most or all of this. But fine. So we have that. When I interviewed Schmidt.
As long as they're blonde and white and cute, right. then it's some nightly news.
Then we care. Bring out the milk cartons.
Right.
When I interviewed Schmidt about the German official who said that use of facial recognition and geo together were taboo forever now, and I said that's kind of ludicrous to eliminate the use of a technology before it's used. And in my view, you could use it to find missing children or to find people after Katrina, and it can be useful. And Schmidt said that it would be laughable for that to be passed in, for example, the UK, where they do use it, he says, to find terrorists in airports. And then he said, you kind of have a choice. Would you rather have more invasive, yet more and more and more invasive searches of your body and information at the airport? Or would you rather have the cameras looking out for known terrorists?
Good point.
That was a showstopper.
Well, no, I guess that's a good point. Technology can be used to invade your privacy, but it also can be used to protect you, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Someone said security theater versus privacy theater.
Right. It's all theater, though, isn't it? Yeah, I like that. Good answer. That's what we were trying to think of. That's what the delay was. We were trying to think of that.
Yeah.
He did respond to the filter bubble, Eli Pariser's book. He says the differences are pretty small, and I'd have to agree. In every test we've done, you can hardly tell a difference in the personalization of your search. I think it's a little bit of an overstatement to make a point. He says this was kind of a surprise. Walt Mossberg kind of beat up on him and said that his Google results were more and more polluted. Schmidt said, and this is in regard to that update where they kind of blocked demand media and other kind of similar garbage info sites. He said that the update impacted only, this is the Panda update, 12% of search results. He says Google makes hundreds of improvements every quarter that aren't seen, and it's working more to come up with direct answers rather than links to information. If we can come up with the right answer, we'll give it to you. Answers instead of search results.
But that's to me, a big issue for them going forward. If you want to get media companies and destination sites and information sites to hate Google, then bypassing them entirely and just handing the answer over will do that. Google's response, I think, would be, well, people don't want a link. They want the answer.
Right.
And so then the question becomes, well, where does Google get the answer? From all these sites. And we'll go round and round and round there as to, are they at that point, if they don't link and they only answer, are they then acquiring the value of those other sites with no return?
Well, I mean, there might be opportunities for return, though. Then, I mean, what if Google said to a site, if you provide answers to certain questions in a certain semantic format, we'll pay you the ad money. You get some sort of AdSense deal for the searches that return those answers. I mean, I'm just speculating that this could be right. But like, what's to motivate sites that have these answers to provide that data in an easy, maybe an easier way or an easily crawled way. I don't know. I mean, I thought it was interesting that this coming up with answers is very much what Bing, right? Bing markets itself as a decision engine, and Schmidt basically said that Bing is better at some of this than Google is, which surprised me because I just have yet to see Bing really beat out Google myself. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting. I mean, sites really are going to hate Google if it provides their content without the user having to click through.
I think the first test of this is the airline schedules, which was another story up on the list today. That it is pretty cool right today. If you go to Google, is this nobody's tip? Is it right?
Nope.
Go
ahead.
And put in flight EWR LAX, you get the schedule.
Huh? And that's because they bought ITA rather.
Right.
EWR to LAX.
Flight. Right.
Flight. You have to say flight?
Yeah, like flights to LA or...
I don't have to say colon, just flight.
Oh, just flight.
EWR, which is Newark, LAX.
It gives you your sins. Like
there you go. Look at that.
And then click on the plus.
Click on the link where it says, there it is, bingo.
Wow. Now, I can't buy it on here. They should, I mean, if they want to make money, they should have a link right to...
that's coming next.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Same as if you want flight status. If you just put in, CO123 for Continental, it'll tell you the flight status.
So I have to say flight?
No, just CO.
But they've done that for a while, right? Or no?
A while, right? So now you have there's the status from Copenhagen. I didn't even know what it was.
Good guess. That's from a website, though, flightstats.com.
But the information I need is right there.
Is right there.
Right.
And you do want that, right? I mean, I always, whenever that happens, like if I do a currency or use Google Calculator, I like that the answer's there. I don't have to click a link. I don't know if they've made a deal with flightstats.com to do that.
But I mean, that is a link at the top. If you want to see a map or if you want to dive deeper, right? You would click on the link.
There. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think he's right. That is something we want our search engines to do. And I think Google's doing a better job. That's good. And if Bing's doing a better job, then people will start using Bing. I think, though, ultimately, you don't steal from Google unless you give better search results, not better answers. Yes. Right? Don't we still use the search engines for search? Mostly?
Yes, mostly.
So it's not enough. I guess if you knew, if I search for a flight on Bing, I'm going to get better results. You might. I don't think people choose their search engine based on what they're looking for. Right,
but skip forward to mobile and voice, and I have a question. I'm driving from Boston to New York. Here's where I am. My phone knows where I am. Where's the next Chipotle? That's one thing I want. Not the nearest, because it may be back. Right. It knows which way I'm going. Where's the next Chipotle? I don't care for a search at that point. I want the answer. And Maps kind of does that for me.
Right.
Not in that root way, which I want. That's the next thing I want Google.
So you might do it if it's different apps and it's a more protracted search. I mean, well, currency is a good example. I have a currency app on my phone, or I know I could do a Google search. On a phone, you launch an app. On my desktop, if I had a currency app versus a Google search, I always have the browser open. I'd probably just enter the currency into Google.
Right. So how does Google power that? And the irony is that I think Google would power that through APIs.
Right.
But they killed, by the way, their translation API this week, which I'm upset about. because you want others to use this stuff to make apps.
Which API did they kill?
The translation one.
What, really?
Yeah, you can still use translation, but you can't use the API they're killing. They killed about 6 or 7 APIs.
Huh.
And we didn't put that in the list. Should put that in the list.
Bad people. They're bad. Oh. They're bad and wrong.
APIs are good. Killing them is bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, speaking of APIs, this Intel Museum of Me is an example of, because I don't, maybe Intel made a deal with Facebook. I don't know, but it's very cool. You have to give it permission and access to your Facebook account.
And pretty extensive permissions.
Yeah, it's a long list, isn't it, of all the stuff you're giving them. And it is just an ad for Intel, but I think it's kind of a neat demonstration of what an API can do. So I just gave him permission by clicking, get it. And now it's gathering all the data from my Facebook account. Let me go full screen on this so you can see it. And you can see quite a bit of stuff going in there, mostly JPEGs.
Is there a special room just for your ugly shirts, Leo?
There should be. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Museum of Leo. Now, I did that pretty quick. It says Leo Laporte Exhibition, 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Already, I'm getting chills. I love this. By the way, that's my Facebook picture, which is a picture of me in college. Old picture. But I mentioned that because you'll see
the hair grew back.
I had bad hair then, yeah. So these are the people I interact with the most. All of them are people who I work with. And I'm sorry, Gina and Jeff, you weren't on there, but and look, there's people looking at my exhibition. I'm so happy. And
being in California in the first conference is retail.
Yeah, yeah. And then this is a kind of a montage of other pictures. I think profile pictures I've used. And now we go into the next room where you can see all the places I've been. Google Maps on that, by the way. And that was kind of a boring exhibit. These are the words I use the most on my Facebook page. And analyze that. International, like, dry martini, house, time, sale week, TWiT, number one. Look at that. Now, I know that this was done algorithmically by sucking data off my Facebook page, but I'm still feeling pretty warm about Intel right about now. A big thumbs up, because Intel made a museum of me. Just for me. These are videos I've liked. San Francisco Giants pitcher. I think I got short shrift on that one. That was a very short video wall. And then this is fun. These are
this is really cool.
Intel robots taking all the pictures from all the people I know. These are all my friends. I don't know that guy. And and they're going to take those. You. Yeah, he knows me. They're going to take all the pictures. This is personal. This is highly personalized of people I know, and they're going to assemble it. What are they assembling it into? I don't know. Let's zoom out and see. Why, look, they've assembled it into a giant picture of
you.
Me. Golly, I like you, Intel.
The chat room is just, they're appalled.
Are they throwing up?
They are appalled.
There's all the people I know in my universe.
Look, that's you.
This is the most...
Just one node on the network that is our universe.
It is all of us together in the...
Connected.
Connected.
I
love you.
Of Intels?
Huh?
What is that cell of Intel?
I don't know, but I watched it about 80 times.
Everyone in the chat room's like, Leo, it's cheesy.
You think that's cheesy? I think no. All right, it's cheesy, but it works.
So I was fascinated by this because ThinkUp gathers social media data. I've been thinking about visualizations of that data.
Yeah.
I tend to come at it from the more like useful visualizations, like what insights can this give me? And this was, let's face it, this was eye candy, right? Like we all want to look at pictures of our friends and things that have happened to us. It's just another mirror to look at ourselves, right? I mean, we're humans. That's we're the stars of our own mind, right?
I don't know, a tear to my eye.
And the museum really kind of creates that idea. You feel important and you remember things. I saw a video of my little cousin and I was like, oh, I got the warm and fuzzies because these are people that I care about. But really, this was just, this giant Flash movie that sucked in a bunch of JSON and then... and then showed it.
You geeks are so unromantic.
It's an ode to the API.
It's an ode to the API. I mean, I have to tell you, I was totally impressed with it. I thought as far as social media visualizations go, it was very, very well done. People in the chat room are asking, what other permissions, what is Intel going to do with all that data, besides show you this thing? I don't know. It was
They're not going to do. Come on. I mean, what would they do?
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to? Right.
And by the way, all this stuff is public. It's all public on my page, so I don't mind. I mean, if you had a private Facebook page, you might not want to do it.
Right.
But
it was a great ad. It was a really nice ad, and I agree that I think it's the future of advertising.
So it's interesting how you take away what you're interested in. So your interest is as a developer from the API use, but visualizations of data, and me, I was thinking, wow, ads. Now I think going forward, I expect to see more ads that I'm a star of.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, with ThinkUp, we've been trying to figure out, like, how can you, we want to reveal something to you about yourself, given, that your data and aggregate that you've shared across these different networks. This is one of my personal kind of interests. So, like the words that you use or the things that are most important. I think sentiment analysis is really interesting.
We've seen tag clouds and all sorts of ways to show that.
I think there's even more. We can go even further. That's why I love things like the Fitbit and things that sort of gather little bits of data over time and then can make sort of general observations about that you can use to exercise more, have better health, or I don't know, think more positive. I don't know.
We Feel Fine.
What?
Have you ever seen WeFeelFine.org?
No.
No.
Oh, you'll love this. I'm going to make sure it's fine. It's Jonathan Harris is a brilliant programmer, designer, thinker, and so go to Open We Feel Fine there, Leo.
Please wait patiently. Oh, now always wrong. This is Java is now. I guess this is a Chrome thing. Now Chrome asked me if before Java or QuickTime will run, which I think is kind of interesting.
So what he did was he did this in blog time before Twitter, but has collected millions and millions of things following I feel or feelings.
Ah.
So they did a book of it that's just brilliant, and they got all kinds of data about this that talks about the total of the people there, of how do we feel happy or sad or whatever, and then you see what's tied to that, and you see specific posts. Well, so Gina, what I think you could tell is that it could start to check your mood, right?
Yep.
Gmail could do that. It could check how many angry emails I've sent and how many angry tweets I've done.
It really could.
And pretty soon it could inject narcotics into my bloodstream according to that.
Well, my anger is closely correlated to my Cabernet.
I could just pump a little Cabernet in there.
Oh, right.
No, but I kind of, okay, so now get ready because you know that Mark Zuckerberg's whole life is all around how can I, what payoff can I give people to incent them to give me more information? So here is a wonderful thing. Now, if you give me more information, forget the movie, I'll pump Cabernet into your veins. I'll give you a phone that spritzes Prozac into your face. Soma. All you have to do is just let me see your life. Just press that allow button, and I will make sure that you're happy forever.
Yeah, this is why you want apps that gather your data that you own versus giving other people access to your data.
Screw Federation. I'm giving it to Zuck because he's going to do the right thing with it. Any man who kills his own meat, he's turning into Ted Nugent. I just want to warn you. Just get ready. He's going to be wearing
this.
That is the danger of the rich and famous person.
Yes.
They become
Howard Hughes.
Bob Streisand.
Yeah. Howard Hughes. He's going to be collecting his pee in a jar. I don't know. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sure you won't be doing that. But it's a little weird to only eat meat that you kill personally.
I did not. I missed this story. Was this a news story? Did Zuck say he only...
Is it true, Leo?
I think it's true. He seems to be... It's on his Facebook page. He seems to be pretty out about it. He started with lobster. He said, the first thing I killed was a lobster. He said, actually, that was the hardest because it was live and I boiled it, but it sure felt good eating it. And then now I think he stepped up to, I think he just killed a pig. And
that's it. I'm a vegetarian.
Well, you know what, though? There is a certain purity, a moral purity that I respect there because you're exactly right. If you had to kill your own meat instead of buying it antiseptically packaged at Safeway, maybe you would be a vegetarian.
I would.
Yeah, I don't want to see the look into the eyes of the animal I'm about to eat.
Seriously. Oh.
Let's not think about that.
I'm deeply disturbed.
Because I'm not ready to give up bacon. I don't care if that pig has a sad expression.
Did we?
Speaking of which, did you see Rovio's going to put Angry Birds on?
What a transition! You are the master. I bow to you.
The Roku box.
Speaking of bacon. Awesome.
Speaking of bacon and eggs.
Pigs to dead pigs. It's the perfect. That's how Leo's brain works.
That is how my brain works, alas. Looking for feelings. So this is finally loaded. This is We Feel Fine. Looking for feelings of people in the last few minutes, it said.
Yeah, so each one of those is the worst. So if you click on any one of those feelings, you'll start to see that those are feelings going around the web.
I feel like Bartleby the Scrivener, that is the character Bartleby on a regular basis is increasing, and that's due to the fact that I perceive society to be further and further askew from what I personally accept or agree with. I think this person's having a psychotic break.
Give that person a little soma.
Yeah. I've been focusing on 4 areas that need addressing and have been feeling encouraged over. Where is this coming from?
This is from blogs.
Oh, I see. So he
scrapes millions of blogs.
He's skimming the internet. I got them about 2 months ago because sometimes I feel uncomfortable riding along the river road. Even in the early morning, there are a lot of cars going really fast.
So he does all kinds of visualizations of the data over time where you can see ages versus feelings, times of year versus feelings.
So you can pick a word.
Cool.
You can pick the word.
This is accurate.
Wow.
See, I want this for just my friends.
That's what inspired me.
Or just you.
Or just me. Or just me and then just my friends.
I don't have any friends, so it's the same.
How do I feel today?
Huh.
I want it to be like, it's like, show me all the negative Nancys in my Twitter stream because I want to unfollow them. That kind of thing.
Wow. Well, that's what you're doing with Tweet Up, isn't it? Isn't this what you're doing?
Yeah. This is part of what we're trying to do with Think Up is to be able to slice and dice things in that way. We haven't built in sentiment analysis yet. We're doing word clouds, but yes,
Gina,
this is
you
the kind
should
of thing
really play with this because he does some brilliant visualizations. Jonathan Harris is a brilliant guy. He also did something called the whale hunt. Speaking of killing what you eat.
Yeah.
Where he went on a whale hunt and it took a picture at least once every 5 minutes the whole time, but more often when things were happening. So he visualized all the photos are clumped together when they kill the whale and all kinds of stuff. So he's really a good visualizer. And he analyzes the data to say, do we feel, more good than bad? At what age?
Very cool.
All of this leads me to want to go to the big data conference. Because it's all about data, isn't it? And it's all about getting more data and then smart things to do with that data. I love it that that's what you're interested in, Gina. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not easy, but it's fun. That's for sure.
Gina, there's a conference at Berkman in I think a week or two I'm going on living the hyper-public life.
Oh.
Are you the only guy there?
Yeah, I know. just
You're
me
the poster boy. No, I'll come.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That. So, but I mean, are you going to speak at this, or are you?
No, I'm going to moderate a panel. In fact, they just asked me to do that today. But Dana Boyd's there and folks like that, and it's Berkman, so it'll be smart. They let me in anyway.
That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, that sounds good. It sounds really good.
Yeah.
Living the hyper-public. Will any of it be streamed, or?
I don't know.
I imagine some of it will be live logged.
Center, I'll bet.
Wouldn't it be funny if it were a private conference?
I know. Well, I went berserk on the BBC 2 weeks ago. They held a conference, a social media conference, and they did it under Chatham House rule, which means that you can't quote anyone by name or say who's there. I said, are you berserk? I went completely ballistic on them, making fun of them for this. And, don't you get the tone deafness of that?
Yeah. Anyway. Hey, is your number 54%?
No.
Okay. Total U.S. ad revenues.
That's a good number. Yeah.
Yeah. But this isn't your number.
No, I left it for the general discussion. Yeah.
Total U.S. internet ad revenues, $7.3 billion in the first quarter. That's a 23% increase from last year. I'm liking that. Seemingly providing more evidence that the tech sector is in a bubble. After all, what kind of industry could possibly sustain 23% growth over the long run? But watch the graph, because it turns out Google gets 54 cents of every dollar more than half of all that money goes to the Goog.
Wow. They know how to make money.
They know how to make money, that's for sure. And
full disclosure, I'm a stockholder, and I'm proud of them. My little Michael Arrington moment there.
There's your Arrington moment. There's the graph of quarterly revenue growth. This is the growth in billions from 1999 to 2010. We had a little drop off there. I don't know what happened in 2009, but
that was the crash.
That was the second crash. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The little bitty, boy, that tells you something. That was where the recession happened.
It affects even them.
But not much.
No.
Even 2009 was better than 2007. 54% of all U.S. internet advertising spend is collected by Google. Google revenue by quarter in millions of dollars is now almost $9.
Let me make sure I get that straight. So 54% of all spent gets. So Google then gets half of that.
No.
For ads that appear
because they keep half. I guess you're right. I guess that's revenue. I guess that's revenue. Profit is roughly a half of that. They keep 50. Is that what they said? That they keep 50?
It's those aren't the exact numbers, but it's roughly that. But that's only for ads that appear off Google. On Google, it obviously goes 100% to Google.
So
I see.
Facebook had 8.8% of. Then we're going to talk about the display ad market. 8.8% of the display ad market in Q4. Google had 14.4% for almost $400 million in display ads. That's banners, columns. So Google whooped Facebook in that particular category. Interesting.
Yeah, Facebook hasn't really started yet, though. Right?
Yeah, and they have to be they're being a little judicious in how they use that stuff. I think there's no hurry for Facebook at all. Google has added +1 now to websites, so I have a Twitter yesterday added follow me button, and now
that's smart.
Yeah. I put it on my website right away to join the
journalists will use it. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be liked. I want to be followed, and I want to be +1. I haven't got the +1 button yet, but
+1 I'm still not enthusiastic about.
This is the other shoe to drop because when we first saw +1, it was a Google Labs thing that you would do within the search results, but now you could put it on a website, right?
Right. So, and this makes a lot more sense, right? Because you're already at the site.
Much more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I get
very powerful.
Okay.
So if if I look at my website, you'll see I've implemented all the buttons: the like button, the send button, the follow button. I got to have a +1 button now. Right?
Okay, but hold on there for a second. So you hit the +1 button. You hit the like button. You know what happens. Your friends can see what you like.
Right.
They can come to the site. They can see you like.
Yeah.
You hit the +1. What's the payoff for you?
When I search for the thing that you +1'd, I will see that you +1'd it in my results. Same thing. You let your friends know.
But it doesn't show up in Facebook. It shows up in search.
Right. It just shows up in Google search. Right. So
there's more benefit for Google than there is for me.
Yes, that's still the case.
I'm helping the Goog.
Now, what I would want to do, Leo, if I were you, is I would want to write a little app that would combine the two.
Oh. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, there are plugins like there's sharing plugins. I use that on my.
No, but I'm saying that with one click, it goes to both places.
Oh, you should say it's like plus
+1
follow. Do it all.
Plus like, yeah.
Plus like.
Don't just like me, man. Love me.
Plus like me.
You want a love me button.
Love. Oh, yeah, that's better than like.
This is like one of those apps that check you in all the different geolocation services, the aggregation apps.
So I can create so this is what the button looks like.
It's singing to me, man.
Oh, and here's why a website would want to do it, because it shows all the +1s. So that's nice that's good for them. And then I can include count. I could take that out. I could parse on load. JS callback, so I can add my own callback function, which could be the love button. The love button. And then you just put a little JavaScript right there in the code. Easy peasy.
So I'm gonna be capitalist Jeff and ask when are there going to be sponsored +1s? So like when is Google going to pay Leo, or when are tech companies going to pay Leo to like their stuff?
Yeah.
Right, because a lot of people follow you, and your recommendation, especially for tech items, is gold.
Oh, well, okay, there's two layers of that, right? There's the spam layer. There's the Mechanical Turk, poor person in poor country who's paid to click 100 times a day.
Right.
Right? So how does Google We haven't had Matt Cutts on in a long time. By the way, in the previous discussion, Kevin Marks was jumping up and down to get on.
I know.
It was just his kind of discussion.
This is not an on-demand podcast. I'm sorry, Kevin.
He's so eager.
Next time.
We were going to the next discussion. But with Matt, how do they prevent spam level of +1? That's one layer of this, right? And then the other layer is the one you just mentioned, Gina, which is fascinating, is does Ashton Kutcher make $1 million for a +1?
He should, right?
And Leo 100,000.
But I'm confused. So if I +1 something, and it would how would Google know if you're my friend?
Yeah.
So Google knows you're my friend if we're connected on Twitter, if you're in my Gmail's contacts list. I mean, right? The social search stuff. Like I see Leo Laporte shared this on Twitter. If I see if I search for something and get a link in my results.
Yeah, but we're both on Twitter or we're both on Facebook. But what does the Google do?
Google knows that we're friends on Twitter, and they know if you're in my contacts in Gmail. Right?
See, this is the problem we were talking about earlier, that Google may know it, but can they surface it without?
So let's go farther. So the problem there is that someone sees that you like the site, but you quite explicitly said +1.
Yeah.
So what's the problem if people say that Leo likes this? You're telling the world.
Yeah. But see, when I look at say here where it says 156 people like this, and if I like it, then it will say Leo and 156. Well, I'll do it right now. So it will add. See, it says my name.
Right, and I see your name if I see things.
If you're my Facebook buddy.
Right, if we're friends on Facebook, right, which we are, and that's kind of a big deal. If I see that you like something,
that's valuable.
Yeah, it is.
That's valuable. But how is Google? What is Google going to say? Where do they get that information? How do they know you're my friend?
Well,
I'm seeing it in search, Gina. You're right. I see people, and when I do searches, I see that Gina Trapani likes this.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
so
totally. That's because we're friends on Twitter, and that's public. That relationship is public. And so, and Google knows that relationship. So, and I also get so and so shared this in Google Reader, which, by the way, I can't wait for Google Reader to just move over to +1 and get rid of. I mean, there's so many different ways right now to do things in Google Reader, like, comment, star.
That's favorite. True. There is following in Google Reader.
Yeah, and there's following. They're right, and those are public. Actually, I'm not sure if following in Google Reader is public, but they've got a few different social graphs. I definitely see my friends in Google search results. So what I'm saying is, like, so everyone's going to go around and +1 everything, right? But not everyone is Leo. Like, if Leo likes it, then that's a big deal to me. Not only because we're friends, but also because you are a trusted personality in brand and tech recommendations, which is why I got to the part where I was like, when do you get paid?
Kevin Marks, who knows this, says following is public on Blogger and Reader. They certainly could use those two as information.
Yep.
And I guess Twitter's public, so.
And Twitter's public, right? And following people on Reader or Blogger, of course, they're going to suggest people in your contacts.
Right. Well, I'm adding the +1 button right now to my website.
Nice. I mean, it feels. I'm a lot more sold on +1 now that it appears on other websites. Like +1ing something in search results seem crazy to me, because how do you know it's a good search result unless you've clicked on it and then you're gone?
We kind of assumed that would happen, though.
Yeah, we did. But it does kind of feel like catch up to dig this. And then Facebook's I mean, really dig is one.
There's button fatigue, too. I mean,
and there's definitely, right, you have the NASCARization.
That's why we want the big heart, the special heart button that just does it. Boom.
Right, the heart button, right. And then you configure the services you want to share on, and you just do it one shot. I'm sure someone's going to...
We just gave you a great startup, somebody who's listening right now. Just gave you a great startup. Somebody just shared, actually, I'm not going to say anything because I don't do NDAs or anything, but somebody sent me an email about a startup they had similar to this that was brilliant, and I'll tell you about it when they go public. But it was a similar idea, so that people are thinking about this. And that's the thing, is it's not going to come from Google. I bet you it's going to come from some independent little guy.
I've been really liking Stellar, which is Jason Kotke's new app, which is not open to the public yet. Stellar.io, but it's an aggregation of people's favorites on Twitter and Flickr and Vimeo, and it's really cool. I can't wait for Jason to open it up. Sorry, I shouldn't have brought up something that's not open yet.
You're so mean.
I'm sorry.
You're so mean.
I'll see if I have any invites. I'll see if I can send you one.
I probably am a member and don't even know it because I joined everything. And then I forget. And I come back in a year and I go, oh, I already did that. I already did that.
By the way, when we mentioned the Gmail mini hacking before, did we know it was China?
No, Google's saying that now. In fact, let's do that story in a second. We're going to do that in just a moment. I just want to briefly remind everybody, it's kind of Coles to Newcastle, because I know you're all members, about Netflix. Here's the deal. You know about Netflix, which is, of course, DVDs by mail, and now that new Watch Instantly functionality, which means you can watch your favorite shows. I'm going through all of the Battlestar, 79 Battlestar Galactica episodes. I watch 2 a night. No commercials. Boom, boom. It's great. 2 a night is 88 minutes. It's perfect. And then I fall asleep. And the nice thing about, by the way, Netflix Watch Instantly, I'm watching it on a Roku box on my TV, but you could use a PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii, a lot of DVD players, a lot of TVs, is you go to sleep, you stop it, and you go to sleep, and you come back, and you watch the rest of the show. I was watching okay, this is a little girly, but I was watching a Joni Mitchell biography last night.
No, I'm with you.
I love Joni Mitchell.
Oh,
I love her.
Yeah.
And this is a really, no, that's somebody else. I don't know what that is. The album name is right. This I didn't even know. This is but this is why I like Watch Instantly, because partly it's the recommendation engine on Netflix, but sometimes you just you stumble across something. I loved this documentary. It was a PBS American Masters series, which I missed. But it's available. So here's the deal, which is fun. By the way, see, I fell asleep. Look at this. I watched 52 minutes of the 91 minutes total.
Wait, how does it know you fell asleep? Do you have like a kill switch?
No, yes, that's right. If I'm not sitting, if I'm not sitting on the Roku box, it turns off. No, I turned it off before I went to sleep. I didn't fall asleep in the middle. I'm not that bad yet. However, this is what I love about this. Now, Netflix, of course, DVD by mail. You get the Watch Instantly and more movies all the time, and TV shows. Let's not forget. Do not rent White Chicks. You might see it there, but don't rent it. Okay, I'm just telling you. It's there, but if you think Marlon Wayans and Sean Wayans dressed as white women is a funny thing, maybe you would want to rent that. But anyway, that's the beauty of this is there's tens of thousands of movies. You're not stuck. Oh, wait a minute. Wuthering Heights.
I just watched the Pixar story. It was so good.
Oh, that's neat. I didn't even know that was on there.
Yeah, it's on Watch Instantly. Really good.
So here's the deal. I know you're already a member. We're just, we're telling you stuff you already know. Please do me a favor. Tell your friends, your family, your grandma to go to netflix.com/twit and sign up for TWiT and for Netflix. And that way we get the credit, okay? Because I realize it's too late now for you. You've already joined. And if you haven't, what? Netflix.com/twit. Try it free for 30 days. You will love it. So China has been hacking Gmail. Google announced this today. They said, yes, we notice unusual activity with people trying to steal Gmail passwords. Hundreds of Gmail users, including U.S. government officials, Chinese activists, and Chinese journalists have been tricked into sharing their passwords with what Google calls bad actors in China. That's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's just bad guys. The attackers were able to read and forward the victim's email.
Sorry, took a minute.
Stang. The web search company, which has blamed China for a previous attack on the company's computer network, said its security. By the way, they're back in China, aren't they? Google got out of China but didn't.
They are?
Is there a change? I thought there was.
They're still not in China?
They stayed there.
So that's still true. They're not in China.
Yeah, I think it's
right.
as
yeah,
it
as
was.
far as I know.
They're there or not there. Right.
It felt like it kind of faded away like this. Like, yeah, well, whatever. So they're not. They're still not. Like, there's no office in China. You can't do...
No, there's an office there. No, there always has been.
You can't do Google searches in China.
No, you can do Google searches in China. It just goes to Hong Kong, and they don't censor it there.
Ah. So they didn't support this Chinese censoring. I get it. Okay.
That's what I think. Chat room will tell me if I'm wrong.
They will.
Yes.
And apparently they're still using Gmail in China because all these guys are using Gmail. And Google said its security and abuse detection system discovered a bunch of phishing scams, and people are falling for them. The campaign seems to originate from Jinan, China. Wow, they really know. And is targeting specific individuals.
high profile, it says.
High profile individuals.
That's what's a little scary too, because Leo, you're high profile.
Yeah, but Chinese government doesn't. I think it sounds like it's people. They're going after. It sounds like it's Chinese government going after dissidents.
And U.S. government officials and activists and journalists.
Right.
So they're using passwords to change the Gmail account's forwarding settings and delegation settings. Interesting. Okay.
So then, if you don't pay attention, what happens is your account continues as usual. You don't know it, but they can read everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's really interesting is that Google is so quickly saying it's coming from China.
Yeah.
Yep.
The war is still on.
Yeah. So their recommendation is to implement their two-step verification process, which you and I were talking about before the show, Gina. It's just so difficult.
It's a pain in the butt. It is a pain in the butt. Yeah, when you enable two-step.
I'm a big fan of two-step authentication. I use it on my bank account. You know, I'll log in with my password, and then it says, okay, and we're going to send you a code to the phone that you have in your possession, and then you enter that code. And that's really great, because even if you got my password, you'd have to have my phone for it to work.
Right.
This isn't that easy.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not as easy. You download. Well, there's a few different ways, but you get a code, like a security code. But then, in addition to the security code, you also have to create a per application password. So if you want to log into a Google app on another device, or if you granted other applications access to your Google data, you have to re-log in with apps. Yeah, I mean, right. And for someone like you, Leo, and me, to some extent, who uses so many apps and so many devices, that you find yourself in this situation, and I found myself in this situation a couple times, where I have a new device, I just want to sign into Gmail real quick or Google real quick to do something, and it's like, oh, I need to either set up this new application-specific password, or I have to grab my phone and check out the code again. I mean, security, true good security is inconvenient.
It's a pain in the butt.
That's just the reality of it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
That's the trade-off.
But I feel really good about it. Now that I've enabled it, I wound up disabling a bunch of apps I didn't use anymore that still had access, and I feel like I know no one else is in my Gmail, which is good. Right. Which is good. But we should say that Google said that they detected and disrupted this campaign, and they notified everyone who was affected and the relevant government authorities. I mean, even if you don't want to set up two-step authentication, it's always good to just go in your settings, figure out what your secondary email address is, make sure that that's not some Hotmail or Yahoo account that doesn't exist anymore, that someone else could have the name. Just make sure that you have a valid secondary email address. Change your password, once in a while if you haven't done it in a while, that kind of thing. I mean,
the most important, in my opinion, the most important thing you could do is to attach a cell phone number to your Google account.
Yes,
because
that's another.
Even if they hack your account and they get your password, you can always reset it through the phone, and they don't have that probably.
Right. And just make sure that stuff is all up to date, and that's not your old cell phone from 5 years ago.
Yes.
I agree with something that uses something like near-field communications, let's say, that as long as you have your phone with you, it's like the new cars where you get in with the car key.
The chip. Yeah.
Right? And the chip's there and it lets you start the car, which freaked me out at first, but that's fine. What if I had the same kind of thing where if I'm near a computer, it says, okay, that's you. Ooh. And I have a very easy way to report if I don't have that.
It's kind of like biometrics, but instead of biometrics, it's phonometrics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's easier.
That's something like that.
Yeah, you'd need to have all computers would have to have an NFC receiver.
Yes, they would.
But that's a good idea. I like that.
There's some way to make security stuff a lot easier and more powerful.
Well, there's the thumbprint.
There's thumbprint, right? There's eye scans, which are less common.
I always feel like I'm going to get blinded. I can put my out there and go, oh, gotcha.
That's it. I just took a screenshot, and now I will be able to scan Jeff's image anywhere and authenticate as him. See, this is the problem with the hyperlocal or hyperpublic existence, Jeff.
Yes, there you go.
Your iris is on file.
Gina gets
That's
me.
it.
She's got your eye. I missed it again. I keep do it again so I can press the screen capture button. No, he won't do it now. We got it. Okay, good.
You can get in the country. All right, Gina, I got a question for you. Because every time this comes up, you defend Twitter when they screw developers and do one more thing.
Oh, they do it again.
Did for them.
Yeah.
And I wonder do you have a breaking point here with them? They seem like they're, what's the word, predatory, infanticide.
Wow.
Well, they're going to kill YFrog and TwitPic and all of these other companies.
I think it was Rafat Ali said today that name one thing, one real innovation that's actually come from Twitter Inc. versus came from the community of developers that Twitter then takes over.
Right.
Are you still friendly to them?
So we're talking about photos, obviously, right? So they're launching a partnership with PhotoBucket to easily post photos, and essentially kind of taking over, right, all the photo posting apps. It's so funny, Jeff, because I feel like you're the guy who's like, business isn't about being nice; it's about making money, right? So I mean,
you're the developer, and so it just seems to me that it's a risk for a platform to start and say, oh, we're a platform, you can develop on top of us. And then you don't know when that day is going to come when they're going to say, okay, rug, pull out all the rugs from under you.
Right,
and
right.
You, the developer community, built all of the really interesting technology and standards atop them, and the user community as well.
Right.
And
what's interesting is they're actually partnering with PhotoBucket, so there is a winner, which is PhotoBucket.
PhotoBucket, right? Yeah. So it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe I should be more outraged about this, but this is kind of I'm going to upset all the the Twitter photo sharing developers, and I'm really sorry in advance. But I got to tell you that I think that sharing short links to photos on Twitter, like, it just isn't the most innovative thing in the world. There are lots of services that do photo sharing anyway, and like, I don't know. I never really understood. Instagram, that was something that was just, it was just a complete, I just never understood it. So I kind of feel like for Twitter to grow and be a platform, and actually what's cool about this photo thing is that it's based on Twitter annotation. So you're going to actually be able to include interesting metadata. It's kind of an open way to include interesting metadata of all kinds of media, not just pictures and videos in tweets. And that's super interesting to me as a developer.
Okay,
that opens up a whole nother, go ahead.
Can you use that, or can you get that only if you use the Twitter photo sharing app?
Anybody can use that. From what I understand,
Okay.
Yeah, Twitter annotations, the annotations, the metadata will be included with tweets through all the APIs, or maybe except for maybe the search API, which is getting deprecated, and that makes Twitter even more of a platform.
Well, it gives you more data for ThinkUp.
It gives me more data, exactly. And listen, I feel bad for the YFrogs and the Pick Pleases and all these sites that have sort of built a business on sharing photos on Twitter, but I also kind of feel like this makes a lot of sense for Twitter. They chose a partner, and as a business, this is kind of.
I think it's categorically different from clients, because when you're a YFrog or a TwitPic, you're really a lamprey eel on you're a parasite on the service. Whereas if I'm building an application that allows me to tweet or has tweets in it, I think that's adding more value than just kind of piggybacking on the service. It seems different somehow to me.
Right.
And ironically, there were the third-party clients that Twitter is probably going to put out of business. But
right. Well, not if the third-party clients do something.
If they add some value.
If they add more value, right?
And so you look at Seismic, or you look at TweetDeck, where they're incorporating not just tweets but Facebook, status messages.
So what if Twitter did tomorrow what ThinkUp does?
I'd be really bummed. I would, absolutely. And in a lot of ways, Twitter's doing more with analytics, which is much of what ThinkUp does. Twitter does not offer, our big sell is like, we archive your tweets. You can't get your tweets back from 2007, 2008 from Twitter right now, but you can if you're running ThinkUp. I'm sure that at some point they're going to roll those tweets out of cold storage and make them available to everyone, right? I mean, even Facebook, you can download your whole profile now.
But that's always the risk when you build on top of somebody else's platform.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. I mean, part of what we do with ThinkUp is we're networking specific. We make plugins for different, for lots of different networks, much like TweetDeck did, like with Facebook and Foursquare and Buzz. I mean, TweetDeck is a really interesting, situation. I mean, you've got tons of data on your desktop from all your friends. I mean, TweetDeck could have really done, and I would love to see them do, but they're probably going to kill it now. TweetDeck could have done some really interesting, search all the things that my friends have said, show me sentiment analysis of all my friends, right? Because it's constantly downloading your friends' status updates onto your desktop, which is like you've got tons of storage there. Anyway, just to be clear, yes, I'd be really bummed out if Twitter.
I'm just trying to. It's an honest question because I'm really trying to figure out where the line is of predatory behavior versus, hey, it's business.
Well, your son Jake wrote apps for Facebook, And surely when he did that, he knew that, well, you know, I live at the...
But Facebook did the opposite. Facebook killed its own apps because they said that developers would do a better job. So the most successful one he wrote was Courses. Facebook killed Courses. Jake wrote the one that became the #1 Courses. He sold it. That was fine.
Yeah.
As Zuckerberg, you know, talked about how Zynga now has higher market cap than Electronic Arts. You know, he bragged about the platform in Paris, and the platform is kind of, to me, in terms of your Jake level developers, has gone nowhere because you can't be discovered. It's impossible to be found.
Too many apps.
Right?
Yeah.
But at the very high level, at Zynga, you know, it's created one heck of a type of business. And you know, Zuckerberg argued that the next successful, I think we're going to talk about this, the next successful music company we want that which understands people and music at the same time, i.e. Lady Gaga. You know, same for TV, same for news, same for other things. So he's still seeing it as a platform where I don't think he's competing. He's not doing.
It does seem a little churlish because Twitter. I think that's a very good point. Twitter didn't invent anything. The @reply, the direct, everything was invented by third parties, and Twitter incorporated it and said, "Thanks,
which
kid.
is a beautiful thing.
We'll see you later." You know?
Right. I love it. I love that. Unless you go and then kind of screw the people who added value to you. That's what bothers me about this.
No, I know what you're saying.
I mean, it seems like Twitter adds these features and takes over these clients because they want to make it easy for new users to discover these things. I mean, I think Facebook as an app platform is just its apps are a lot more easily discoverable. And I think it makes sense that Twitter wants to incorporate image sharing into their own app, you know, with their own partner and have some sort of control over that because they want more people to upload more pictures. Right now, like uploading pictures, you know, a new user, someone who's not us, is like, what service do I use? What are these links to all these different sites? You know, why does YFrog act this way and TwitPic act that way? I mean, this has been their argument, right, that it's a user experience thing.
I think that's a fair argument.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, with ThinkUp Federation and data ownership, like owning your own data and archiving your own data and your friends' data is high on my list of priorities, and I know that's not high on Twitter's list of priorities.
Right.
So, and that's where I'm making my bet, right, among other little analytical things. So,
Thank you.
We're running out of time, so I hate to do this because we have we still haven't talked about Google Wallet.
Oh, yeah.
That happened right after our show last week. We'll save that. We'll think about it some more.
I got a quick question for both of you.
Yes.
Should I buy a Chrome notebook?
Oh my God, they're doing a sale on Gilt right now, Gilt.com. And I'm so aggravated because they listed the freaking Chromebook in the men's section.
Oh, man. Right next to Drakkar Noir.
Oh, fail.
Google-loving feminists, not happy. Not happy. I mean, honestly, I don't know what other section they could list it in. I mean, their sections are women, men, home, children, gifts, jet setter.
Gifts would be fine.
City, taste.
I think you should quit Gilt right now.
You know, I just signed up for Gilt recently because Sarah and Veronica were talking about it on TWiT.
Yeah.
And but they're way more stylish than I am. Like I started looking at clothing and I was just like, oh man.
I'm gonna send you an invite to Fab.
Oh boy.
Do you know about Fab?
I don't.
Fab is all about design.
Oh. Okay.
Not clothes, but design. All right. So Samsung's new Chromebook is now available on Gilt. The sale begins. Oh, it began. It happened. It's on now.
Yeah, it began this morning, I think.
And how much is it? Does it say?
$4.99 for the one with the
that's expensive.
100 megs of 3G included.
Yeah, I guess now I have to become a member of Gilt.
Jeff, I think it depends on what your use case is. You know, I don't know. Do you have a MacBook Air? I mean, do you have a use for a really lightweight laptop?
I have a regular MacBook Pro. I guess the question is, do I need it to kind of blow open my understanding about how the world operates so when I teach journalism students and things that it's
no. Here's what you do. You just take all the applications off of your Air, except Chrome.
Except Chrome, yes.
That's it. It's the same, right?
Basically.
Yeah.
Except it starts up a lot faster than the Mac.
Okay, so just, forget that part.
Right.
But just always keep Chrome running, and then you just open the lid, and that's it. You're there. I'll send you the CR48. If I could just find the power supply, I'll send it to you. But it's just, that's all it is. It's the browser. So take everything off your computer. Pretend you have no storage.
Yeah, so I can't store any file there.
No.
Well, no, you can. Can't you download photos. I mean, you can. There's a file picker.
It has a memory slot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe like on an SD card.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a very small memory machine.
Yeah, I think it's very small.
So you wouldn't want to put, a bunch of pictures on it.
Right.
No, I mean about like a document I'm writing or something.
Google Docs.
Work on that offline.
Can you work offline on it? You can. All right.
Does Google Docs?
I don't know. I'm looking. Chat room, it says 16 gigabytes of memory on this thing, so I guess you could save some documents. There's a file browser now. Oh, that's cool. So now there's a browser and a file browser.
Okay.
Right on. I wouldn't get it.
All right.
I wouldn't. But
see the new shiny thing, and you can get it early.
I think you'd be better off getting a Tab, a Galaxy Tab 10.1. I think that'd be better.
I'm kind of tabbed out right now.
Yeah, too many tabs.
Yeah, but writing a document, you want that keyboard.
That's true. That's true. We're supposed to get one, right? They're going to send us one, right?
Yeah, they are going to send us one.
I guess if I disclose that, I can keep it. I'll send it to Jeff. Send it to Jeff. Don't buy one, Jeff. I'll send you mine. Let us get our tool, tip, and pick of the week, starting with Gina Trapani's tip.
2 new things in Gmail. One super exciting, nested labels. This was a labs feature that actually got promoted to built-in Gmail. I don't know. It could be just because I was at Lifehacker and people were just appalled that it didn't support subfolders or subtags when Gmail first launched, but now it does. So when you create a new label, you can create a nested label inside of it. So one way I use this is I'm subscribed to a bunch of mailing lists. So I have like a mailing list parent label, and then each sub-label is like the name of the list for those of you hyper-organized. And also, Gmail launched last week a people widget. When you're in Gmail, if you look on the right side, you'll see photos and descriptions and contact information about all the people participating in a conversation.
Has yours rolled out? Because I
kind of interesting.
I haven't seen it on mine yet.
Yep. And I'm using Google Apps too, and I am seeing it. Okay, the people widget, you mean?
Yeah, I don't have a people widget yet.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you. You can see which one of your friends have actually set a Google profile photos. You see their photo, and you can see mail from this month. I mean, it shows you kind of it's actually similar to Facebook's kind of friendship with this person, kind of interactions that you've had with a person, and documents you shared. Oh, you're not. Yeah, no, you're not seeing it yet. No. Interesting. If you look at an email from someone with a Gmail account, maybe. Oh no, I'm seeing it from every domain. It must be rolling out. So
yeah, they said they were rolling it out bit by bit.
Yep. So people widget and nested labels.
Nested labels. Finally, nested labels. They've needed that for a while, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Jeff Jarvis, your number of the week.
Number of the week. I'm going to debate between 2 of them. Let's see. I'll go with this one. It is 500,000, which is how much Google paid Epic, the Electronic Privacy Information Center, for its buzz screw-up.
And they're going to send us all a quarter, right?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, that's what's irritating me here. And it's on top of earlier settlements with other organizations like EFF and such. And I understand, in theory, this is their mitzvah back. No, that's the wrong word.
It compensates them for their efforts.
Well, but why do they get the money, right? You see, it's bothering me because it's kind of the what I call the regulatory industrial complex of privacy now.
Right.
So by complaining, they're making money off complaining. And I don't like that. But I just wanted to get
Actually, Google issued that objection. They said they did not want the funds to go to the organizations.
Yeah, but they did a whole bunch of settlements, and they did it all. And I think that sets the expectations and the motivations in the wrong way. And it makes privacy into even more of a gold mine for complainers. So I just want to get that off my chest. While I'm saying this, I have a very, very small piece in IEEE Spectrum.
No, I wanted to talk about that, but you and Gina both mentioned in this.
Gina is quoted galore in it, in the new issue coming up, and they wanted me to plug it on Twig, which I like that somebody wants to be plugged on Twig, so for that, we'll plug it on Twig.
We'll go for that. The IEEE Spectrum, you wrote a piece called Privacy, Publicness, and the Web, a Manifesto.
Well, it's actually 1/3 of the story that I wrote, but we didn't agree on the editing of the rest, but it's fine. And so that's kind of bookish stuff. And then Gina is quoted like crazy in predictions of the next 5 things that are going to control the web. And she has wonderful quotes in there.
I agree.
Oh, thank you.
And you can read this online.
Yes, you can read it online.
It's all online. The IEEE Spectrum is spectrum.ieee.org.
Thank you for the plug for them.
Oh yeah, I actually put it in my I bookmarked it. I was going to talk about it anyway, and I forgot. Or actually ran out of time. I want to thank Gina for this tool. I actually had a tool that was very obscure, and it's really more of a news story, but it happened today. Google has released a developer preview of WebRTC, which is their real-time voice and video chat system based on HTML and JavaScript. This is a direct competitor for Skype and FaceTime, and developers are now being encouraged to use it to develop video conferencing systems. And I guess
take that, Cisco too.
Yeah, that's the big player here, right? And I guess the idea is if you have a Chromebook, you'd still be able to do conferencing on the Chromebook. So this is an interesting release, not of much use to anybody who's not a developer, but I'm sure Kevin Marks is looking at it. And then thank you, Gina, because
we'll show an example application based on the real-time communication APIs we made available on Labs.
This is an Ericsson video. You can watch this later. Go ahead. This is Gina's tip to me for a tool that I didn't know about called Google Correlate. It comes out of the Google Labs.
I score 100 points for that. You not knowing about it.
Is this new? I never heard of it.
I hadn't either, but now that you have it, I don't feel so bad.
Oh no! So I'll search for what? I just do a search, right? You enter a search, and then what happens? It searches for correlations. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's like
when I search for TWiT, I get 7 minutes in heaven. Is that?
It's like searches that have had similar patterns over time. Yeah, some of the examples are a little better.
Correlated with winter, you get searches for Nordica, colds, hockey arenas, and Obermeyer. Searches that were most likely to be issued in 2005, so you compare time series and stuff. It's you know what? I love it. This is another big data thing, where if you've got a lot of data, looking for correlations and information that you can deduce from that data, and it's great that Google lets us play with it a little bit. So it's correlate.googlelabs.com. So there's two tools for you on your level of expertise. Gina Trapani is...
Kevin Marks just corrected me that he wanted me to say, and he's right, that the Twitter photos are not Twitter annotations, that they're actually tweet entities, which are a different thing. The Twitter annotations has not launched yet, so I stand corrected. My my declaration that the Twitter platform is just opened up to everything was absolutely wrong, so I apologize. Thanks, Kevin.
But I imagine that those photos are available in the API as part of the API. It's just not an annotate.
Right, exactly.
We got to talk more about Twitter annotations and what that's going to be used for. I think that's very interesting what they're up to.
If it ever launches, it's been a long time.
They announced it a long time ago, yeah.
They did.
Gina Trapani is at smarterware.org. She's also thinkupapp.com. Sometime soon, we'll all be able to think up. I can't wait. Can't wait. You can also follow her on the Twitter at Gina Trapani.
Oh, good one.
Said it right once.
You did. You did. Great show today, guys. Thank you. This is a lot of fun.
Really interesting stuff. Yeah, as always. Jeff Jarvis is the best. He's at buzzmachine.com.
You're the highlight of the week, boss.
Professor of CU at CUNY, or CUNY, as it is known to its proponents, at Jeff Jarvis on Twitter, and the author of this fine book, What Would Google Do? And now we hear September for public parts. That's exciting. Can't wait.
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy you guys a brick because I like you so much.
Oh, sweet.
I'm buying a brick.
Are you buying a brick?
I'll buy a brick.
Bricks.twit.tv. We can
figure out what to say on it.
Put your name on the wall. You could get a, you know, if you get the 8x8, you could put a logo, get a picture of your penis or something on there. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Representative Wiener's already asked us for that, so that.
I think I'm going to have Gleek on mine.
Gina Trapani. Gleek.
Leo, sadly, I can do that now on the smaller brick.
It'll fit, huh? Hey, thank you, guys. Always a pleasure. Thank you all for being here. We do Twig This Week in Google every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. That would be 2000 UTC at live.twit.tv. But download it after the fact, too, because we've got audio and video. And it's fun, and it's all
of it.
You
can see Leo's hair.
You can see my hair. Twit.tv/twig is where you'd find that, or on better podcast clients everywhere. It concludes this portion of This Week in Google. Yes, Tom, you can come in. TNT is coming up next. We'll see you later, everybody. By the way, the brick is being offered in the men's section.
Oh.
Thank you, Aaron B. That was good. I like that, Gina. That was great.
That was good.
It's a men's thing.